Dear students, I am Dr. Kalidas Rajendran. Today's posting is about diffusion, imbibition, diffusion pressure deficit and osmosis. First one is diffusion. What is diffusion? The movement of molecules from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration. The movement of gases, the movement of molecules, particles from the higher concentration to the lower concentration. For example, if a gas is filled in a bottle, or if the bottle is filled with vapor, when it is opened in a closed room, the gases which we have filled in this bottle will evenly distribute throughout the closed room. This is what we say diffusion. Otherwise, if a drop of ink is introduced in a beaker containing water, the ink will evenly distribute throughout the water. This is the process called diffusion. And the diffusion pressure is maximum in pure water, and if a salt is introduced in the pure water, the diffusion pressure decreases. Okay, the diffusion pressure increased, otherwise the rate of diffusion increased if the temperature is increased. The rate of diffusion is increased if the density, otherwise if the diffusion pressure gradient is increased, and the rate of diffusion increased if the medium, the concentration of the medium is decreased. For example, pure water, the concentration of medium is decreased. Otherwise, the diffusing particle density is decreased. In such a way, the rate of diffusion increased. Okay, now where this diffusion plays a major role? What are the significances of diffusion? For example, gaseous exchange which takes place during photosynthesis. Gaseous exchange takes place during transpiration or respiration. It is where the diffusion plays a major role. And diffusion normally takes, for example, absorption of water. Okay, that can also be included. Plants uptake water. Okay. Next one, we discuss about what is imbibition. The movement of or the uptake of water by the solid substance without forming a solution is called imbibition. For example, when the seeds we have selected, these seeds are soaked in water for overnight. Next day, the seeds swell up. Now, this is called imbibition. Where this imbibition plays a major role, germination of seeds. Root hairs absorb water. It is caused by imbibition. And the force of attraction that develops from the imbibed substance to the imbibant. For example, in plant system, cellulose, proteins, these are macromolecules present in it. These macromolecules are available in colloidal form, and this colloidal form of protein carbohydrate has these molecules have a strong force of attraction. Thereby This force of attraction which attracts water molecules from the imbibed substance to the imbibant. This is what we say imbibition. Next, osmosis. What is osmosis? Movement of molecules from water molecules from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. Otherwise, movement of solvent molecules from the solution of lesser concentration to the region of higher concentration. Otherwise, the movement of solvent molecules whose osmotic pressure is lesser to the solution whose osmotic pressure is higher. Otherwise, from the hypotonic solution to hypertonic solution. And osmosis, where it takes place? It takes place in where the root hairs absorb water, cell to cell movement of water, stomatal opening and closing is caused by osmosis. Turgor, the cell becomes turgid because of osmosis. The leaf is turgid because of this osmosis. Resistance to drought, resistance to frost is due to osmosis. These all various importance of osmosis. For example, if two solutions are selected, they are separated by a semi-permeable membrane. The movement of water molecules takes place from the hypotonic solution to hypertonic solution through semi-permeable membrane. As well as, what is osmotic pressure? The pressure developed by the solution in a solvent, that is called osmotic pressure. How the osmotic pressure can be, or how the osmosis can be demonstrated using one simple experiment, that is called a thistle funnel experiment. In a thistle funnel, the mouth of thistle funnel is covered with goat's bladder. Then the solution is introduced into the funnel. Then this funnel is introduced into the beaker containing pure water. What happens? The height rises, the height of the solution rises in the thistle funnel. So the movement of water molecules enter through goat's bladder and the height of the solution rises. This is what the osmosis. Next one, about the plant cell acts as an osmotic system because plasma membrane allows particles to pass through. So this plasma membrane is called as semi-permeable membrane, as the plasma membrane absorbs only the selected solutes. So it is called a selectively semi-permeable membrane. Tonoplast or vacuolar membrane is also called as selectively semi-permeable membrane. Okay. What is called Turgor pressure? The pressure, for example, when a cell is introduced into the pure water, the cell sap is a hypotonic or hypertonic. The cell sap retains hypertonic in concentration when it is compared with the pure water. What happens? Water enters inside the cell and the plant cell will become turgid. because of end osmosis. And now the protoplasm, a pressure develops in a protoplasm against cell wall. This is called turgor pressure. So the pressure exerted by the protoplasm against the cell wall, this is called a turgor pressure. What is turgid? The cell wall distended because of the turgor pressure. This is called the turgid. And the wall that exerts a pressure against the protoplasm, that is called wall pressure. At a certain condition, turgor pressure is equal to wall pressure. Okay, now what is diffusion pressure deficit? Diffusion pressure deficit means it is the water deficit, the difference between the diffusion pressure of a solution and the difference between the diffusion pressure of the solvent, that is called diffusion pressure deficit. Mayer in 1938 was the first scientist to coin the word diffusion pressure deficit, and Renner already who described diffusion pressure deficit as a suction pressure. What is diffusion pressure? The diffusing particles exert a pressure, that is called diffusion pressure. So the difference between the diffusion pressure of the solution and the solvent, that is called diffusion pressure deficit. For example, the diffusion pressure is maximum in pure water. Diffusion pressure deficit is increased if the solute concentration is increased. Okay, at a certain condition, the diffusion pressure deficit is equal to water deficit, which is, in other words, we can say that the suction pressure. With that, we can just conclude today's portion. Thank you so much.